This is Vera, a nifty Volkswagen transporter my brother converted into a camper van to explore all that New Zealand has to offer. But poor old Vera has been sat in a garage for several years and is in need of a little bit of love. Fortunately, I know just the guy for the job.
Is this your first time doing something like this?
It's not my first, but I haven't done that many of them, so it's just a matter of getting the instructions and making the rest up as you go, hoping for the best.
So Bill, are you a qualified electrician?
Well, my dad's been working in the van, and he's not the tidiest person.
Just a bucket of golf sand.
What the f*** is that for? Is that for the van?
Some random bits of wood, certainly not part of this bit.
Oh, that's a cockroach!
May just crawl onto you.
This is half of our bed. I think it might be a bit short for you.
That's safe, always leaving the knife out. First bit of blood.
My dad just loves any excuse to go to Bunnings, the hardware shop here. I think he's honestly been every single day since we arrived. Look how many receipts there are for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So this is one of our cabinets, this is part of the bed, and we've got this little hatch which opens inside, which isn't the most convenient because we can't store as much stuff. So I think we're just gonna take it off.
And when I say we, I actually mean my dad's gonna do it.
So Bill, how are you managing without all of your tools from home?
On the road, you need to make sure that you use whatever tools are available for the job.
Yeah, if in doubt, just grab the nearest fruit knife and use your thigh as a chopping board. Good at this stuff, isn't he?
Yes, well my dad has in fact built his own van, and this is my brother's van, so it obviously runs in the family. I've got quite a lot to learn, so I'm learning from the master.
Yeah, I know, I stalled. I just need to get used to driving Vera, so let's fast forward a month or so. After cruising up and down the length of the country, sleeping, cooking and fighting off sandflies, we now have a much better feel for Vera and a clearer idea of what does and doesn't work with this van conversion. So let's get on with the full van tour.
Welcome to Vera. Now Vera's not massive, so we've had to be quite creative with where we put our things. So our bedding is just shoved down the front here, but it's also really good because it keeps the fridge in place. Whew, really stinks of that vintage cheddar we bought. Woo! That is pungent. So what's really good about the fridge is it's also got a USB point so we can charge stuff off it, and it's plugged into the leisure battery, which also has some more USB points. Now we have lots of batteries for our camera to charge, phones, things like that. So we've got 3 different USB chargers. The leisure battery charges stuff when we're driving because we've got an inverter. I'll let my dad explain that.
So what we've done to fit the PowerTech module, which is the module which is the computer, as it were, that tells this battery when it's charged and it can start charging through this red cable, the leisure battery. Now the second battery is to run everything that you need to run in the camper van, independent of your main battery, which you can't afford to let get too low because it'll not start your vehicle. And that's where the lead goes through, from there into the controller, from the controller out to the leisure battery. And just before it reaches the leisure battery, we put a fuse in, so if anything blows in the van, it won't take the entire system out.
And if the leisure battery runs out of power, will you start tapping into the main battery?
No. That's the whole point. It's a fail-safe, so that when the leisure battery gets too low to run your appliances, it'll just switch off. Your appliances just won't work.
Wow, this is all far too technical for me. Let's get back to some of the practical touches I added myself, such as...
I added one of those removable sticky hooks, and I added a few others around the van as well. So as you can see, we've got a nice L-shaped sofa, which is great when we want to do some work or just have a chill in the day. But I bet you're thinking, well, where do you sleep? Well, this modular furniture makes into a double bed. And then the back of the sofa is the extra part of the mattress. So I bought these lights from Kmart and they were like $1, $1.50, and I bought 6 because they've got little hooks and they actually fit perfect onto here. You've got different settings. You would think they would fall off because of all the bumpy roads we've been on, but not one of them has fallen down yet. So under the bed, we've got this area of storage. Now what we've put under there is our coat bag so that we can get to them easily, some dry food like pasta, and also our toiletries. The back of this is the battery, so you can only get a little amount in here. So from this bit backwards is all the back storage, but we'll show you that when we do the back. Now, slid down the side here, I've got a little hanger to hang our clothes and a washing line. That's been quite useful, especially when it rained and we had to hang up all of our laundry in the front of the car. I added another 2 hooks here to the front, and we've been using these as a laundry bag. As you can see, it's pretty full because we haven't done laundry in about 2 weeks. Please do not judge us. And this one is full of our fruit and vegetables. So we've got this big bin. So this started off as a little book bin, but it's kind of turned into a bit of a where nothing has a place, we'll stick it in this bin. So a bit of a miscellaneous tub now. Books, fly swat, torch, fan, massage ball, glasses, microphone, toilet paper, enough books, fam. So this lovely piece of furniture is actually our wardrobe. So inside we've got 4 more canvas boxes. So we've got 2 each, and I'm also using travel bags because then it keeps everything together and I can just whip out a travel bag, which has got clothes in, and I know what's inside. One of my favorite features of the van is we've got curtains here at the back and also at the front to block out the windows. Now these curtains, hey up Doug. So anyway, they're blackout curtains, which means you get an amazing night's sleep. Honestly, we've slept so well in this van. We haven't even realized that the sun has risen. So we felt like we needed a little bit more storage. So we bought these plastic boxes, which have worked out perfectly for what we need. One of them is filled with shoes. Now guys, warning, if you go camping, your feet are gonna get wet. You may go on hike, and honestly, your shoes will stink. This box has been a lifesaver because every time we open it, holy cow, it smells real bad. Thank God you do not have smell-o-vision right now because whew, that box is humming. This box is mainly for our thicker towels that we use for showering. So we have some beach towels, we've got some sleeping bags, and this is some Instagram clothes, let's call it. Some quick clothes that I can shove on to take nice photos with. Now the last piece of storage we've got is this little gap here. Can't fit much in this bit, so we've got some extra cans of gas for our cooker. Top tip guys, go to Kmart for your gas. It's like $4.50 for 3. In some of the other camping places, it was like $20 for 3. And we've got some batteries because you always need batteries. And at the back, we've got some exercise equipment because Jack loves to exercise. You've got some stuff in the front, but it actually goes all the way through to the back. So speaking of the back, let me show you that. So at the back we have got a little bit of an awkward space, and it's a little bit of a small gap to get into. I personally think my brother should have made it a little bit bigger. On the plus side, it's long. It goes all the way to the front. So what we've got in here are our camping chairs, our awning, my hiking pole, and also we've got another little grey tub, and that has some miscellaneous stuff in. And of course, some wet wipes, because guys, these are a saviour whilst camping. Wet wipe shower today.
This is a all-time life highlight, I would say.
Found this in my brother's garage, and he didn't actually buy it for the van, but I thought it would come in useful, and oh boy, has it come in useful. We pin it to the back of here at night time when we're cooking so that we can still get in and out of all the cooking stuff, but bugs won't get in our van. Black tape, because it's very, very useful for things such as
Mending your clothesline.
got another hook here for where we hang our bin. Guys, never leave a trace, always take your rubbish with you. And down here we have our cleaning tools, which is basically a brush. This brush never stops working because there's always packed all over the van. So under the L part of the sofa is this box. Now it's actually removable. If you just wanted the sofa, you could take this entire box out, but the box is useful because it's got kitchen stuff in. So it's got everything you need for camping. It's got plates, bowls, cups, wine glasses, cutlery, pots and pans, a kettle because, you know, we're British. And we've also got this grey tray. Now this grey tray is great because you can pack all your dishes onto it and carry it in one go without knocking them over to the washing facilities in the campsite.
Off to washing up we go.
Wash it up like a little bitch. So this little cubby hole goes all the way to the middle of the sofa. So at the front, we've got our food. I think our food box is looking a little bit sad at the moment. It was quite packed, but we've been cooking a lot recently. So this back bit was all full of tins. Tins are great when you're camping because, you know, they don't go off. Nobody wants bland food. So we've got a whole section of spices here, oil and vinegar. And you can't go very far without some nice welcome mama. We like it spicy. And tea. Jack actually brought some PG tips from the UK because, no offense New Zealand, but your tea's weak. I have to leave it in for so long that my tea is nearly cold and it's still not strong enough for me. And then halfway down, we've got our camping stoves. Now, it's a bit of a bitch to get to them. You have to literally take everything out, but they fit so snugly in this little gap. Absolute like. This is our water supply. Now, it's not fancy. I did actually buy a 22-litre tank, but it turns out it didn't work for us. It was soft, so it kind of wriggles around a lot, and also it leaked a bit, and it made the water taste like plastic. So we started off with some bottles on the hope we would find a different water tank. But actually these bottles have been really good because you can store them all around the van. They don't take up as much room. So when we're at a campsite with drinkable water, we'll fill up our water bottles and we'll keep them in here. So what I've learned about living in a van is it's a lot of getting stuff out and putting stuff away, forgetting that you need something else and having to go back and get it out and put it away. So you need to be quite patient, which I'm not, but it's helping me become a more patient person by constantly getting stuff out and putting stuff away. So obviously we need something to eat off and cook off. So we've got this fold away table, which we stash here in the back. Now, another thing about living in a van is when you're driving, if it isn't strapped down, then it will slide. So we came to the conclusion that we needed to put these sofa cushions here at the back when we're driving to keep the table in place. Problem solved. Ta-da! That's better, suitable for some windy roads. Talking of which, how's the driving been in New Zealand, Jack? Maybe you should do the front bit.
I've so enjoyed the driving, to be honest. I absolutely love driving on these rural roads. Super windy, so it's always interesting. Way less boring than it is driving in the UK. And actually, I've got to say, Vera's done a pretty good job. Now, she's not the most high-powered fan in the world, so I think she does struggle a little bit in the hills. But once you get her up to speed, she really starts to fly. We have got quite a lot of weight in the car, and you could definitely feel it. But all in all, no complaints there. Anyway, I think the old girl's got plenty of kilometres left in the legs. She's already done 328,000, which is an absolute miracle. But I'd say she's still driving in pretty good nick. No complaints there. I like to have all of my essentials close by. For example, speaker, so I can blast out some tunes, some strepsils in case I get a sore throat from singing my little heart out too much.
And a lot of other miscellaneous junk because the driver's seat doubles as Jack's man den.
And actually, even in the evenings, I tend to chill in here quite a bit because this sort of doubles as my mobile office. So here we've got my camera bag, so I can just quickly grab lenses and stuff. Gimbal, in case I need to get cinematic on the fly. I like to have that out. One of the legacies of living in China for 5.5 years is that I always have to have a flask of green tea on the go. Ow, that's hot. As this car was originally made for left-hand drive, so for driving on the right-hand side of the road, it feels like they haven't actually bothered to switch over where the buttons are. So like I have to kind of reach across if I want to try and press the hazard lights or something, which I think is a little bit unsafe personally. We haven't actually bothered to switch the radio on because, well, we've got speaker, so why'd I listen to some bloody DJ's tunes when I can listen to my own absolute bangers, mate? And finally, we've got air conditioning. Now, in a car of this age, that's not always a certainty. And yeah, I'm really, really appreciative because it's been an absolute lifesaver.
So in my front bit, we've got a reflector so it can keep the heat out of it when we park it, water and snacks. In the glove box, we've got more camera equipment because we just have batteries and cameras everywhere in this van. And that's the front bit. Now, the only thing that annoys me about Vera is when you pull this down, there's no mirror. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I don't need to see myself when I've been camping because probably looking pretty rough. So one modification we made to the van is we added a safe. The way to get into the safe is to pull this chair forward. The safe is underneath the chair. My dad decided to build a box with a padlock on so we can put our valuables in it.
This can only come off once the seat is moved forward. Once it's locked, you can't get it out. It just gives you a little area there that is semi-secure. If somebody wants to break into it, they're going to get into it, but if they don't know it's there, because it looks like it's part of the van. From here, it's fairly innocuous, you just think it's a seat.
Where did you get this idea from?
Oh, well, I just made it up.
Ingenious, eh? But I know what you're wondering. Where do we poo?
So as I said before, Vera was bought for some weekend camping, so she's small but perfectly formed, but she's not something which is called self-contained.
But Nico, what is self-contained?
Okay, so if you don't know what self-contained means, basically here in New Zealand, if you have a van and you want to freedom camp, you need to be self-contained and you need a certificate for this. And so you need a toilet and you need enough water and things like that to get the certificate. So we don't have space for that, so we aren't self-contained. But I don't think that's prohibited us. We can still get amazing campsites for free and obviously some that you pay for. Some of our favourite campsites have been the DOC campsites, which are run by the council, and they've been out of the way. Some have limited facilities like a long drop and some have running water. So they're a bit of a mixture and I think you can find exactly what you need.
So what would your advice be for other people who are looking to come to New Zealand and do a van trip of their own?
Well, you can rent a van from different companies.
Like Jucky?
Like Jucky. Or you can go on Facebook groups and you can buy a van and then you can resell it. Obviously, we haven't had to do that, but it seems pretty easy. There's lots of people doing that. So if you are coming to New Zealand, I could recommend both of those things. I highly recommend a road trip in New Zealand because the roads, they're beautiful. There's only a few roads, so it's really easy. Obviously, if you're English speaking, it's an English speaking country. We drive on the left anyway, so it's perfect for us. So I think it's a really nice place to come for a road trip.
I agree.
And if the toilet thing is a deal breaker for you, then you needn't worry. New Zealand could quite possibly lay claim to having the best public toilets in the world. They're clean, they're jazzy, and in our next video, we will be exploring some of the most interesting water closets the country has to offer.